What are you talking about? So, Baldwin Park, how you doing this one? Give us a big round of applause. It's a pleasure to be here in your midst. Much respect to all our elected officials, the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and all elected officials, city council, representatives, and having a Q in the house too. Where's that brother? Do you? I was just gonna say we might get some oxygen over there. Right? You like you're struggling to us, oh my God. No. Okay, yeah. So it's a pleasure to be here today. Not gonna be before you long. You know, God is really good. God's amazing. Give God a big round of applause. Let's give them. You know, it kind of reminds me of the story of this guy who was trying to snowball and smoosh God out of a blessing. He said, God, you know, you're all great, you're almighty, you're all knowing. God said, yes, I am. He said, God, you know what? You know, you do so much, you're all powerful. He said, yes, I am. I can do anything, I'm all powerful. He said, God, matter of fact, you're not even like us humans. You don't even deal with time. God said, that is correct. 1,000 years to you will be like 1 minute to me. Yes, God, you are so great. But God, I was just wondering if you can give me a lot of money, a big house, and beautiful women coming to my house all the time. God, can you do that for me? God looked at him and said, give me a minute. So we gather today under the theme of generations, okay? And that word matters, okay? Because generations is not just about time. They are about transfer. And I know this again, I know it's Black History Month and whatever else, and we're certainly going to acknowledge the great work of many greats that have come before us. But this day is a reminder for all of us today. Okay? Transfer, generation about transfer. The transfer of wisdom, the transfer of struggle, the transfer of hope, and the transfer of responsibility. Black history at its core is a story of transfer. So let me talk a bit about it. It's a story of how people were brought to this country in chains against their will, but refused to let change define their contribution. It is a story of individuals who were told no by law, no by custom, and often no by violence. But yet they still built, they created, still taught, still healed, and still led. And yes, you know, before we try to get into many things, we gotta tell the truth, because Black history in America includes a pretty nasty stain. Yeah. Slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, segregation, inequitable education, mass incarceration, and civil rights violations that to some degree we're still grappling with today. But here's what makes that story remarkable. Makes it remarkable. Those who endured it, they didn't fold. They may have bent, but they didn't break. And because they did not break, we are here. Black history is not just a story of oppression. It is a story of contribution. Yeah. It's a story of, you guys remember Charles Drew? You guys heard of Dr. Charles Drew?
Blood passing, yeah.
A doctor who advanced medicine while being denied hospital privileges. Doctors who taught children, educators who taught children in one room that was an old, small room with hand-me-down books. Entrepreneurs who built wealth on the streets where banks would not lend to them. Inventors whose creations changed the world. You guys, you got to hear those traffic lights, right? And whatever else. Guess who invented those traffic lights? The traffic signals, blood banks, open heart surgery techniques, home security systems, agricultural innovations. Artists who gave America its soundtrack, jazz, blues, hip hop, gospel. Activists who forced this country to confront its own conscience and constitution. And it is also the story of everyday heroes, okay? Like the black teacher who stayed late, tell Johnny with an assignment that he didn't really understand.
Yeah.
The black police officer who chose service in a system that did not always serve him.
Uh-huh.
A black nurse who worked double shifts during COVID. And the black grandmother who raised 3 generations
Three of them.
under one roof. Now, the history books often celebrate the famous, but make no mistakes. Communities are sustained, as the minister said earlier, by the faithful. Now, I kind of look across the room, and I want to say something directly to my Latino and Hispanic brothers and sisters here today. You know, our histories are not identical, but make no mistake about it, we are connected.
We are intertwined.
We both know what it means. Yes. We are absolutely connected. We both know what it means to fight for educational access.
Yeah.
We both know what it means to be told to go back to somewhere when we're already at home. So you go back. We both know what it means to work twice as hard for half the recognition, and we both are quite familiar with the power of family, faith, and culture as survival strategies. Black history is not just about Black history, it's about American history. And American history is the strongest when Black and brown communities move together, not in parallel. When we understand each other's journeys, we don't compete, we collaborate. Right? Now, let's just kind of talk about this pattern of greatness. Now, there's like these hallmark names when we think about Black history that we celebrate. It's pretty common. We talk about Black history, we talk about Dr. King, Rosa Parks, Thurgood Marshall, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Shirley Chisholm, James Baldwin, Maya Angelou. And you can see a little pattern there. But here's what I think we need to be reminded. They weren't superhuman. They were clear. Say clear.
Clear.
They were clear about their assignment. They were clear about who they were, and they were clear about the times that they were living in. They understood their challenges, but they did not allow those challenges to define their identity. That clarity produced courage. And that courage produced change. Okay? Which brings me to you, all of you in here. Because Black History Month is not just about looking backward, it's about looking inward. It's about looking inward and then looking forward. So the question is, you know, Dr. King and all those other people, it's not what did they do. The real question is, what is your assignment? As a matter of fact, I want all of you to look to the person on your left and right and say, what is your assignment?
What is your assignment? Who's your assignment?
Your assignment may not be to march across a bridge. Your assignment might just be to raise a child, to start a business, to teach, to mentor. Here's one that's all of our assignments: to vote. To build bridges between communities, to create art, and to lead with freaking integrity. History is not just only shaped by those whose names we know, but it's shaped by, again, as the minister said so eloquently when he prayed, it is also made by those who decide to show up. Every generation, you know, how many of you guys love track and field, you know, the relays, the pass baton? Every generation has baton. The only question is whether we're going to carry it or we're gonna drop it. You know, so just the other day I went to a TED Talk, and this wonderful person, her name is Rebecca Zung. She said something regarding certainty and respect, and I'm sure all of us want respect. You know, we make demand respect and so forth. That's a lifelong struggle for many of us, right? Listen to what she said. She said, respect is not given by pursuing or earning it, but rather granted when you are cemented in certainty. Let me repeat that. That was so powerful. Respect is not given by pursuing or earning it, but is rather granted as the byproduct of you standing 10 toes down in who you are. That's what respect is, and that's how you get it. That means you got to know who you are. And don't apologize for who you are. Don't freaking shrink just because someone can't tolerate your perspective because it's different from theirs, right? Don't negotiate who you are. You are who you are and stand firm in that. Because when you are certain about your identity, your purpose, and your values, respect follows. Not always immediately, but it's just a matter of time. The people we honor today were not respected in their time. They were criticized. They were ridiculed. They were lynched. They were jailed. They were ignored. But they were certain. They were certain. And that certainty changed the world. For all the young people in here, I have a message for you as well. You are not the future. You are the now. You are the right now. You are living in a time of incredible access to information, technology, and opportunity like I've never seen before. It's right at your fingertips. But you are also living in a time of distraction, division, and doubt. I mean, some of the mess and toxicity on social media is next level for sure. But don't let the world define you before you define yourself. Be certain about your worth. Be certain about your culture, and be certain about your voice. Be certain about your responsibility as well to lift others up as you go up. You have a responsibility as you do this. Well, representation with responsibility is leadership. So I'll leave you with this. Be clear about your assignment. Be aware of your time. Be certain about who you are. Carry your history with pride, with so much pride. But do not let history be your ceiling. Let your history be your foundation in which you stand. And one day, another generation will gather in a room similar to this, and they'll say your name. Not because you were perfect, but because you were clear, courageous, and committed. Thank you, Baldwin Park. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before you. And as we leave here today, let's not just leave here today being inspired, but assigned. Thank you.
Amen.